the Inovato Quadra with ham clock. That's what's coming up next on LCARA Ham Radio. Hello, folks. This is Chris, KY4CKP. Let's check what came in the mail recently. It's the Inovato Quadra. It's sort of a Raspberry Pi alternative platform, a small mini compute PC platform. And this particular unit from Inovato, the Quadra, comes with ham clock and really other things installed. We're going to mostly just talk about ham clock here in this video, but it is a computing platform and you can run a number of things on it. So here we're just taking a look at a fairly quick, simple little sort of unboxing. You get the Quadra Compute little box itself and also this wireless keyboard, which is inexpensive. Not doesn't feel particularly high quality in a sense in your hand. But on the other hand, the little I've used it has been working just fine. So not a bad little inclusion there. And it's not something with this particular kit that I got that you have to pay extra for. I think you can get the bare Quadra itself, but this was sort of a kit for a few extra bucks. And you get the keyboard and charging cables and a couple things. Now here's the main unit, and you saw there in the guts of the keyboard, the little dongle. You plug it into the back of the Quadra, and it gives you your USB Bluetooth configuration there. And we see here we've turned it on, and it is backlit, and it gives you a little touch screen and some controls and the ability to do right and left clicks. And of course, basically it's a thumb keyboard. Again, works reasonably well. Now this is the main Quadra unit itself. You get an HDMI cable. You get the charging cable, 2 amps, with a barrel connector there. And the main unit itself, which is housed in a nice little box, and some simple instructions there. And of course, you can scan the QR code to get the digital instructions. So there's the main Quadra itself. Just a nice, simple little box. Just going to rotate and turn it around. It's got some holes along the sides. And then, of course, the main input-outputs there on the back. The power, USB, the network cable, HDMI, and an AV connection if you go that route. I had an extra, more or less an extra monitor sort of laying around. I had been using it with my FTDX10 receiver. And so I said, well, let me hook up the Quadra to this. And we boot it up. And you can see the regular desktop of the OS there. And you see it has web browsing and all those kinds of things. But it is, this particular unit is set to come up with ham clock. And it'll boot right in and ask you if you want to go ahead and do the setup for that. But if you ever come back to the desktop, you can see the ham clock icon shortcut right there. Now, there's a lot you can do with this unit, like you can with Raspberry Pis and other kinds of small compute platforms. We're not going to get into all of that because that could probably take well over an hour to begin to scratch the surface on everything that can be done here. But I'm just kind of showing some of the initial setup. Of course, you need to get it on the network. So I'm just kind of showing that here. Went through and got it connected to my Wi-Fi and put in the password for that. You'll see here in a minute. And once it's on the network, you can move on through the setup process. Just some simple questions and things. There's nothing complicated about the setup on this. The hardest part for me, and it's not really hard, is just sort of getting used to that little keyboard, that little sort of thumb keyboard, and this little touchpad. But it's not really hard to use. So again, setting up the whatever your Wi-Fi is, put in your ID, and again we've got the keyboard set up, ready to go, and I've just got this monitor up here. So again, put in the password, click connect, and then it can connect to some of the services, as far as POTA activations, SOTA activations, and you can also, there's a lot of things you can configure this unit to do. Again, we're not going to try to go through all of them because there are some other good videos on YouTube covering some of that. But you can have this show you just all kinds of information. and you can customize it. You can customize the color scheme in several areas, and you can customize what kind of information you would like for it to show you. So again, here we're just kind of finishing up the setup, and put in your call sign and your latitude and longitude and a few things, your grid square and some things like that. And you can look that up on QRZ and places. Now here I'm just kind of showing, like up in the upper left corner, you can change the colors of your call sign by clicking on it. You can also change the colors of the background behind your call sign, again by backing on it or just clicking on it. So and then all these sort of blocks, these fields where you're seeing different kinds of information being displayed, I think almost all of those can be customized to one degree or another, as far as what kind of information you want it to show you. Or do you want, I know many of them can be set up to where they will cycle through several different kinds of information and show you one type of information for a few seconds and then cycle to the next, show that for a few seconds and that kind of thing. So it's very, very customizable. You just take a little time and, just sort of don't be afraid. Just kind of click on everything, right or left click on things and see what kind of options pop up for you. So, and then of course you may change things later. If you get kind of bored with a setup, you can kind of change things around and change some colors. But a big part of what this does, as you can see in sort of the main window there of this display, is it shows you basically a geochron. It shows you the gray line, and dedicated geochron monitor and devices are pretty cool, but they can be quite expensive. And so with a little unit like this, not very expensive, I think at the time that I got this kit, and this isn't just the bare unit. This was with the keyboard and a couple things. It was about $50. So you get the Quadro itself in the case, and the keyboard and a couple of cables and things, and it will show you this. And again, the Quadro can run other kinds of software as well. In fact, I went to the desktop and opened a web browser, went to speedtest.net just to see what kind of Wi-Fi speeds the unit was getting. And at the time I was getting about 32 megabits down, and actually better up, I was getting 60 something megabits up. More than enough to let the little thing do what it needs to do. Now, here's something where I got kind of lucky. When I bought the unit, it was on 3.01, and after a while, they released an update. In fact, they've actually released a couple of updates from the version that I received. I received 3.01, and I know that 3.02 was released, and it had quite a few updates in it. But I just never got to that one, and now 3.04 is out, and it has a single update. So whenever the listing for your version, which is in the upper left corner by your call sign, whenever that turns red, means there's an update, and you just click on it and you can start the update process. Now I panned over to show the power button on the unit there. It would have been kind of nice if it maybe flickered during the update. Some things will flicker during an update or whatever. It just stayed solid, not a big deal. And I sped this part up a little bit. This part, this progress indicator on my unit, because they had to do 302 and 304, it took 2-3 minutes. Not a real long time, but I did speed that up for you folks a little bit. So you just let it run, and then it's going to reboot. See the desktop again there briefly. And, of course, if you're ready to just let it go back in, you can let it count down or go up and click the skip there. And then you'll be up and running on the newest one. And of course, you've already put in your call sign and some of that beginning information, and so this time, it can just boot right up in. So this was just kind of a quick overview and introduction to sort of ham clock in a way, of course, but then also the Inovato Quadra running ham clock. And again, the Quadra can run all kinds of other things as well if you'd like. But this is what you can have it set up to. You can have it be full screen like you see here, and gives you, again, sort of the geochron gray line, and it can show you the contacts. You see POTA showing up. You can have it cycle. I've got, I think right there, I had it cycling through POTA, SOTA, and something else I forget. The vowel cap shows you your sort of your odds of making contacts as far as how good propagation is at the time. Like many things, green on that little center chart there is good, and red's not so good. So we'll wrap this one up, folks. This is Chris, KY4CKP, for Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association, 73.